I was chasing the most unavailable women. I was involved with straight women who had boyfriends. I would get high off of it, you know? I wanted the unattainable ultimate experience, which lacked all intimacy.
Welcome to the Secret Life Podcast. Tell me your secret. I'll tell you mine. When I first started my recovery 11 years ago, I struggled through the textbook-like material on this subject. I wanted to make the addiction and the recovery from it accessible and relatable to more people by telling it in an entertaining way. Well, I'm super excited to announce I've released my first book, Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict. If I can help just one person find a solution or at least realize they're not broken or alone, then writing this has been worth it. You can pick up the book exclusively at Amazon or signed copy at secretlifenovel.com. And the best way to support our podcast is to subscribe and share. If you haven't left a review or rating on Apple Podcasts yet, please do. It'll help more people find our show. And if you want to be a guest, shoot me a note at secretlifepodcast@icloud.com. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to Secret Life Podcast. I'm Breanne Davis-Gant. Today I'm pulling back the curtains of all kinds of human secrets. We'll hear about what people are hiding from themselves or others. You know those deep, dark secrets you probably want to take to your grave? Are those lighter, funnier secrets that are just plain embarrassing? Really, the how, what, when, where, and why of it all. And today, my guest is Court. So Court, I have a question for you. Dun, dun, dun. What is your secret?
Okay. Yes. Okay. My lifelong secret is I am a recovering sex and love addict. Mm-hmm. There it is.
Which we both have identified with that. We are in the same boat, but yours is a little different than mine, which I want other people to hear how it's different. Everybody is so different in that specific program. Why is the secret even bigger?
Yeah, I mean, well, I identify as a gay female. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for me, I think the hardest part of it, there's a lot of shame and resentment that brings us into those rooms. And yeah, they're not proud moments when we walk in there. So I was chasing the most unavailable women. I was involved with, secrets when they were straight women who had boyfriends. So it was something that I was a secret, when I was with them, and I would get high off of it. I wanted the unattainable ultimate experience, which lacked all intimacy. That's what it was.
And you didn't really know this until you stepped into the rooms. That's what you were doing. You were going for the most unavailable. Like you were trying to create this fantasy and turn it into reality, it seems like.
Yeah, and there's a lot of every single girlfriend I had, there were 6 girls that I had dated, and all of them were in relationships. So I took them from someone. It was one of those things where it was almost, I mean, it's so hard to talk.
For me, I only stole one guy from another girl. So I didn't have that behavior. I would go for people that were just single and that I could easily have power over them. But you were even going the extra mile, so I understand, but so how did this start? Do you remember the first time you did it, and when was it? And do you remember?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was a big secret. I was in college. Mm-hmm. The funny part is I actually had a boyfriend at the time, and I was on the soccer team, and there was a girl who I liked on the soccer team who also had a boyfriend, and we started having sex, and it was a big secret. And there were so many situations that people were in the other room, no one knew. And it went on for 2 years and no one knows, even to this day, she's married to the guy. And,
oh my God, I love that.
It was like,
that is a secret in itself. Like that could have been a whole episode. No,
I know.
So
that was the first
to this
one.
day, does anybody know? Does like not people in the rooms? I'm talking like outside.
No. That it was, it was a huge secret for 2 years. And at the same time, I was realizing I was gay. So it was there were secrets all around that too. But yeah, that was the first one. It was 2 years. And it's so funny too, because when I was on Instagram, she would hit me up, like DM me and be like, I had a dream about you. And she's married with children. And all those reminders bring up a lot of shame, because that was a very common theme. When I came into the rooms, I realized I had never dated an available woman. It was always taking someone from someone. Fuck, man. Yeah.
Do you remember the high of the first time you like stole her from him?
I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Where specifically were you? Like when I was doing my book, like I got really like the first moment I felt that high of like kissing somebody outside of a relationship. It was like a shot of heroin up my body. And I've been chasing that feeling ever since.
Yes.
So that's one specific moment of when that happened.
That's so true. I can really relate to that. That was, we were outside of a party. We were both at this keg after our soccer season ended. And she was like, you look really hot when you play soccer. And I was like, you lesbian. I was like wasted. I had no idea. And then I looked at her again and we went outside by this shed in the woods. It was like a porno. It was just, we just unleashed, started making out all over campus. Not to get too detailed, but I was really into going down on her. I would do it in between classes. They would meet up for lunch. Then she would come see me. And it was, God, it was just, there was so, especially sneaking around, because I got so high off of it. I just thought, you think you're, I don't know, there's some part of it that it makes you feel like you're the best. You are the person that this person really wants, without seeing what the underlying truth, behind the pattern of it. But that high, I'll never forget it. And also realizing I was gay was like a double high.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how double high, that double secret, like, because I feel like secrets always make me feel so powerful and invincible. Yes. And I can't imagine having, because you were still with your boyfriend at the time.
Yes, I was still with my boyfriend. And now I was having sex I was actually enjoying, so it was really, God, it was a double secret at the same time. Yeah. Then I'd show up to practice and, we'd play our games and both of our boyfriends would be there yelling and we would be just flirting with each other. It was just, there was such a high behind
Were they friends, the boyfriends?
They were both on the college basketball team and we were on the college soccer team. So they would come with like shirts they had made with our names and numbers. They'd have signs and we would be flirting, grabbing each other's ass. Like it was just... it was.
Did you ever go on double dates together? Like, did you take it to that level?
We hung out. We had beers. We definitely hung out because those were all of our mutual friends and no one had a clue. There was even a time to get very, you already know how unfiltered I am.
Yes.
Like there was a time where the entire soccer team, we had a game, we were playing a game. God, I think we were driving up to, we might've been going to New York and we were on a bus, team bus, under a blanket. I fingered her on the soccer bus. Like no one had a clue. It was like we couldn't get enough of each other. And I'm telling you, she still has dreams about it, which cracks me up. But that's, there's a lot of
the danger
shame.
of social media. An old ex should not be texting you saying I had a dream about you.
That's why I deleted. Yeah, that's long gone. And that's the beauty of program. But yeah, that's deleted. But yep.
So did you guys, I'm just going to end on, but did you guys like, was it a dramatic ending to that love affair?
Of course.
Okay, let's hear it. Of course.
Yeah, none of that ends well. I think for me, it was one of those things where she, you know, you get tired of with that situation. I also lived on the opposite coast. So the secret kept going, which made her happy. And I became fed up, you know, and I wanted to move on and explore my sexuality. So I couldn't keep being what she wanted me to be. And she wasn't around me. So being on the other coast, like I wasn't there to talk on the phone, you know, it was like, it was what it was. So It ended very explosively. And she actually, now that I remember, she was like, I have to tell my boyfriend something. So I remember she told him that I think we like kissed drunk, and he was like hysterically hyperventilating, crying. And she was like, well, I can't really get into it.
Yeah, so now she's like, I can't say anymore.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. She tapped out of that one real quick. But that was, it was explosive. It was an explosive ending. It took a long time before she reached out again. And at that time, you know, I was willing, I was over it, I was past it, but
the high was gone, probably.
The high was gone. Well,
it just turned into drama. That always happens at like a year and a half. That high goes away, and you're like, I'm over this. I don't want this drama anymore.
Every time.
And that's what I try to tell people. I'm like, it doesn't get better. The high just goes, it like leaves you quicker. So let's hit the last time you acted out in the secret of taking somebody else from someone else that pretty much brought you into the room. I mean,
that was my 5-year relationship. That was the one. That was the one. I took her from her relationship, and, you know, it was one of those things that was the pattern. Yeah. And the intimacy, the healthy intimacy wasn't there. So I spent the entire relationship realizing this isn't my person, you know, and then figuring out I've got a problem. Like, these aren't the relationships that will serve me long term. There's some kind of intimacy issue with myself. I'm fucked up, you know, taking full ownership and knowing that I have a problem.
Right.
But yeah, no one knew any of that.
Was she straight too, or the last one?
I don't know if I could identify. She doesn't know herself very well, so I don't know. I mean, she's with a guy, but she was also with a woman. I guess I would call that bisexual, but I can't identify for her.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. So when you are doing this secret and acting out and stealing others, I always like saying this 7 deadly sins. Some people don't like the word sin. I don't attach it to anything bad.
Oh, I do. You know, I'm a God-fearing gay.
I know you are. And a lot of my listeners are, but when I say sin, I'm just saying these characteristics, these things that humans have. So I don't look at it as bad. When I say I'm envious of somebody, it's not a great quality, but I don't think it's a sin. So I wish I could change that word, but I can't. But here,
no, I like it. I identify with that. Yeah.
Okay, so we got pride, greed, lust, gluttony, envy, anger, and sloth. If you could pick a couple of them or one of them that is attached to your disease and why, what would you choose?
Oh my God. Now that I have 2 years recovered, I have 3. There's 3 in there.
Okay. Yeah. Go.
Lust would be number 1. Pride, absolutely. These are all character defects of mine. Yeah. It's just so funny. And anger. I was angry at my mom. My mom cheated on my dad, had an affair. And I thought that is what you do. You objectify women, you objectify yourself. So those 3 for sure. Yeah.
When did your mom have an affair?
Oh, I didn't find out till I was 20 that she had a one-night stand and I was the result of the affair. And I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know most of my life. And when I found that out, that was bad. But
do you still talk to your mom now?
I do. We don't have the best relationship, but we're working on it. She's a human being. But yeah, that was that's where I realized a lot of my sex addiction came from objectifying. It was just, I was following the example I had seen growing up unknowingly.
Right. Because it was subconscious. You didn't
from.
know at the time. Did you just see your mom very disconnected from?
100%. She was gorgeous. My mom was gorgeous. She was, men were chasing her left and right. I mean, she was stunning. I mean, that was her identity, was her beauty, her sexuality. And that's all I saw. I didn't see a spiritual identity. So what I saw was what you look for in a woman. And that's what I chased myself when it's not truly who I am. So It took me a long time to realize that and get there, but I still didn't have the balls to admit it to anybody.
Right. Parents, man, they can mess you up. But the beautiful thing is, and you and I have talked about it, it's like they are humans, like you said. They are just as flawed. And for me, becoming a mom, I'm like, oh man, I see how hard it is being a parent. And I think that helps to also say, oh, I'm going to be better. I'm going to do different than what my parents did.
Oh, I love that. You're breaking the chain. They didn't know any better. They really didn't. And they didn't have access to the tools we do. And I just, how much I admire that in you. God willing, I can be, a parent just like you, man.
Oh, thanks. It's no joke, girl. Like, oh my God, I'm exhausted on a daily basis. My favorite line is like, I'm exhausted. And my husband's like, that's what you say every day.
That's what you lead with. I love it. I love that.
So what do you feel like the benefits of you keeping this secret, and who have you harmed?
Oh man. I mean, that's all programmed too. It's the most humbling work I've ever done. How is it? Was the first part, how has it served me?
Yeah. Like, what's the benefit? What did you get from it?
I have never learned so much about myself from my mistakes. So the secret, while it was immaturely high at the time, it was that high that I was chasing and what I thought I was supposed to go after. It ultimately changed my life, and the people that I hurt, that was very humbling work to do. I mean, there were so many people that were in tears and I stressed them out. I broke their hearts. I took people from them that they were invested in, these were relationships they were invested in, and I took their partner from them. So I hurt a lot of people, and there's a lot of shame in that I've had to really work through and own every part of it.
Right.
I mean, that there's no joy in hurting other people. But it shows, how they say hurt people. And I was a very, very wounded person.
Have you done the dreaded step 9 yet?
I have. I actually just turned over my 12. So
Yay!
It's, oh man, 9 was tough. It was interesting because pride being one of those sins, when you remove your ego from an amends, there's just maybe 2 or 3 direct statements that are made. Yeah. So that was, I could write my character defects. My own narrative could be 3 pages long. And when you remove all of that, it's like own your
I'm
shit
sorry
and apologize. Yeah.
And leave it at that. No explanation, no buts.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the beauty of that, for sure. Own your shit.
It's hard though. I mean, I remember you just want to explain why you did a certain thing or behave a certain way. And it's like, no. You don't get that luxury.
You don't. You
just have to apologize and make amends and never do it again. And sometimes I think people don't understand that we also just make a living amends. Have you had to do a living amends instead of actually talk to the person you harmed?
Yeah, because especially it says, unless you were going to injure them or others. And, a lot of, anyone married is off limits. So there was the story I told you about. I could never, I couldn't go to I'm not going to say his name, but I couldn't go to her husband and apologize. And, and those are a little bit harder. Because it does sit with you, but that's, I am a God-fearing gay. And, that's one of those things where I believe in God, and my spiritual work has changed my life. And you do realize that I'm not that person's higher power. I can only trust that will be released, and that they're in good hands, and that all will be healed. But yeah, in some of those amends, like the hurt is there, the forgiveness doesn't pop up. And that's how we learn that what we were doing wasn't serving us or anybody else. Yeah. So that's also beauty in the work too.
So how do you move forward now? Now that you've shared this secret with me, and I think I've missed one part, is that no one else in your life knows that you are in this program still. So there's that secret. So how do you move forward in your life now with, new reality?
Gosh, just, I hope to,
that's like the $1 million question, right?
Right. I think that, I owe everything about my spiritual identity to the work I've done in the rooms. And I think the more that it affects my life in such beautiful ways, especially now that I'm coming on the pure recovery of it, where I don't have a fear of acting out. I don't want that high anymore. I think the beauty will be becoming more honest in my life, outside of the rooms, and being able to honor the program that truly changed my life. Yeah. So you've taught me a lot in these moments. This is one of those things where it felt, it feels good. It just feels good being honest when you let go of those sins that are driving you, when you let go of those character defects that are driving you. There's a lot of beauty and honesty. And I think the people that surround you are a reflection of that. I agree. And I was right? Like that's all
the inauthentic and the unavailable kind of fade away once you do this work.
Yes, 100%. So I think that the people that are going to surround me coming out on the other end as a recovered self, I won't have any fear of being dishonest, because I am proud of the work that I've done. And the mistakes are what got me there. So, there's beauty in that as well. And there's a lot to honor there.
Yeah. And I think what I've learned over the 10 years is that shame doesn't eat me up anymore. And it's not who I am. It's what I did. And it doesn't reflect who I am anymore. And I have no problem saying, hey, I am a grateful sex and love addict. I'm actually a good person now. I wasn't at one time, but that wasn't me. It was just, the little scared hurt me trying to fill this need. So I have no shame in that now. And that's why I'm doing this. And that's why I want to have people on like you, where it's like, there's no shame. If you keep doing it, that there's the problem, but you can always change. And you and I are older. It's not like we're in our early 20s. Do we want to live the rest of our life in a secret where we're trying to have power and control and hurt other people?
Right. No, there's so much beauty on the other end. 100%. I think that's where the work comes in. And, there's that excuse, that time old classic of, this is just who I am, when people are in that space. And it's right. And I think that it's very uncomfortable to face and own. And that's why I respect you so much, because every time I hear your honesty, that seamless approach to it, and who you are now. And, your own child is going to make mistakes, but knowing that he doesn't have to be secretive. Or the beauty on the other side of that is the next generation won't feel like they have to hide who they are and what they struggle with, and that we can all work together. Because it really does take a village to understand trauma, understand how you act out from it and how you heal from it.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I adore you, and and I'm just so grateful for you to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if you want to be on the show, please email me at secretlifepodcast@icloud.com. Until next time. Thanks again for listening to the show. Please subscribe, rate, share, or send me a note at secretlifepodcast.com. And if you like to check out my book, head over to secretlifenovel.com or Amazon to pick up a copy for yourself or someone you love. Thanks again. See you soon.